Henry Ford in mass production. In 1891, Henry Ford became an engineer at Edison Company and started to develop plans for the first horseless carriage, and in 1896 he constructed his very first model, the Ford quadricycle. This plan was reviewed by Thomas Edison, and then Edison encouraged him to revise his plans and come up with a better model. This opened the door for the first mass-produced automobile, the Model T Ford. The first Ford plant was in Highland Park, Michigan, and it became the benchmark for mass production around the world. Henry and his workers invented machines to make large quantities of the parts that were needed for the vehicle. And in 1913, Henry Ford designed his first moving assembly line and started the manufacturing process of his Ford Model T. The assembly line revolutionized the automobile business because in the early days of Ford production, cars were built one at a time. At the factory in Detroit, Michigan, the workers were placed at appointed stations, and the chassis was hauled along between them using a strong rope. The chassis stopped at each station where the parts were fitted until it was finally complete.
Henry Ford wanted to produce the most amount of cars with a basic look at the lowest cost possible. He wanted to produce a vehicle that was affordable to the general public also. The Model T Ford was able to be mass-produced because it only came in one color, black, which made it cheaper to produce and more affordable for Americans. The Model T not only revolutionized the automobile business, it allowed people to move out of the city to live because they could travel in for work. The assembly line allowed for the cost of production of the touring model to be lowered from $850 in 1908 to around $300 in 1925. The Model T came in many different models to provide a variety to modern American families. Nicknamed the Tin Lizzie, the Model T had only 20 horsepower and went up to about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Between around 1913 and 1927, Henry Ford and his factories produced more than 15 million Model T Fords. The Model T was the longest produced automobile until the Volkswagen Beetle surpassed it in 1972.